AP Calculus, definite integration. Just want to do a couple exercises where we just evaluate a couple integrals here. Here's one, which is we're asked to evaluate the definite integral from -1 to 1 of e to the x power minus 1 dx. Here we can go, I think we can go straight to integration and evaluation, can't we? Remember that what we're hoping to get to is the fundamental theorem of calculus, right, which says that we can do this, right? So this is our goal, and I think it's good to start with our goals in mind here. So I'm going to go ahead and integrate. So as we integrate this, remember that e to the x thing is a weird rule for integration because the first integral of that is itself, isn't it? So it's still e to the x. The first integral of -1 is -x, isn't that right? And remember that we said that we're going to evaluate this thing from, and this is what it will look like, from -1 to 1, and sometimes the brackets are drawn out here also. Oftentimes I don't draw this outside bracket and I just make the right hand bracket a straight line. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to take f of b, remember b is 1, minus f of a, and a is the lower bound, so of -1. So I'm going to start taking that, if you don't mind, and that would give us, well, e to the first is just e, isn't it? Minus x is 1 here, so -1. So far, so good. Now we have to do this second part, and we're going to remember we have to take this whole second part out, and we would get e to the -1, wouldn't we? Minus 1. If you're wondering where I'm doing, I'm just substituting into here, aren't I? So this is what I did here, just to make sure I'm being really, really clear about this, is that here's x here, and here's x here, and I'm substituting in. This is, right, -1 here, and this -1 is the -1 I'm substituting in, and this negative sign is formulaic, right? It was from the formula we had before. So I'm just going to go ahead and start rewriting this a little bit, and this is 1 over e, isn't it? Plus 1, right? Remember we have to take this whole thing out, right? We have to do, right? So this negative sign is this one, so e minus 1 here. I'm just going to keep doing my work, and I'm going to go ahead and distribute this thing in, if you don't mind. I'm going to distribute this into here, and it goes here also, doesn't it? And that would give us negative, right, 1 over e plus 1, right? And then we have e. Now this looks really, really bad here, and you're going to have to do something with it. So what we're going to have to do here is this. We're going to take e here, because look, this is what I'm going to, and this is where people get really, really confused with this kind of stuff. Right? I need all of this under one denominator. So this is that denominator, isn't it? So isn't it true that e is the same as e squared over e? Isn't that right? And that -1 is the same as e over e. Are you with me here? Minus 1 over e, that's this 1 over e, plus, and isn't it true that e over e is 1? This is really important because if you're taking the AP exam, they're going to give you this simplified answer. You're going to get to here and you're going to say, well, this is a good answer, and then you're going to look and it's not going to be one of your choices. But if you look now, we have everything, don't we, over the same exponent. And did anybody catch that I was supposed to distribute this negative sign to here and here, and that this should have gone to negative, shouldn't it? So this should be negative, excuse me, and this should be negative. And if you did catch that, good for you, seriously. Right? And then we have e squared. I'm going to start just gathering like terms. I'm just doing algebra now. Here's negative e up here, isn't it? And here's another negative e. So that's negative 2 e's, isn't it? And then this -1 is this one, -1. Remember, we have a common denominator of e, so we don't add these together. We just leave it all over e. And I confuse somebody with this all the time. Just remember, why we're looking for this common denominator is that if we had 1/4 plus 2/4, we wouldn't add the denominators, right? We would just gather, right? We'd say they're alike, so that's good enough. And then we have 1 plus 2, which of course is 3, but all I'm saying to you is that we're doing the same thing right here, okay? All right, you guys, this is really good work. This is something you have to get really, really good at this. And if I could tell you anything, I guess I would really say to you, make sure you have your rules of integration, your integration formulas memorized. Okay, so good work.